Namaste, I am JVWU, Assistant Professor of Journalism Department from JVWU Women's University. In the last video, we have learned what is reporting, what is rewriting for scripts and writing for news. Today, we will learn reporting of techniques. What we will understand from this topic, to understand the various elements involved in news writing, to discuss the types of functions of news, to know the various news sources which can be used by the reporter, to trace the pitfalls and problems in the reporting, to enlist the various qualities of a reporter. So the news reports aim is to meet the requirements of the everyday life as lived by everyday readers. So it largely depends on the elements like direction, pace, variety and information. It aims to be state the fact of quickly and clearly. News element of news are the what determine a stories and newsworthiness. There are many elements of news. However, a story only needs to have a few these elements. Strange incident are news. News story with an element of surprises will create curiosity and will be in news. This is where the man bites dog story comes in along with the other surprises, shocking or unusual events. That is called oddity. Emotions. How do people feel about it? These news story will be both bad news and good news. Death, tragedy is example of bad news. Positivity news story are far more prevalent than it suggested by the clinical and claim that the only good news in the bad news. Next is consequences. Is what is the effect of the readers? News story about issues, group and nations are the perceived to be of the relevant to the audience. Proximity. Proximity. Proximity is where is story from? What happened in the around your city interests you more than what happened in the far flung region. Therefore, newspapers allocate greater space of the local news coverage because of the proximity factor. Drama. Dramatic events of the any kind would be an ideal subject of for the interesting news story. Human interest. People doing interest things are the incident having an emotional element. So these kinds of stories covers of the feelings that human being have, including sympathy, happiness, sadness, anger, love, hate, etc. News stories concerning entertainment, showbiz, drama, humorous treatment, witty headline and entertaining photographs will be of the interest of to the most of the people. Prominence is famous people make news. Virtually every action of famous people is considered to be newsworthy stories. Concerning the elite, powerful individual, organization or institutions are the enough to create us news stories. Celebrities are always a subject for news and their every action is the under observation for the media. You can notice that some celebrities go to the airport. There's already so many media in capture for the capturing for the dresses, what they are wearing today and what airport look of them. So these are the prominence. Progress is technological advance and new discoveries will always be the subject for the discussion and a readable news story. Conflict is man versus man, man versus nature, man versus machines, man versus himself. Conflicts as an element of drama that gets attention to the hand serves as a certination for the news selection. Timelines is it's new, so will be in news. Timelessness is the essence of news and understandably a certination for the news selection. It is an event that has just happens make a good news story. While events happened a few days ago or the history. Personalization is Events which can be portrayed as an action of individual will be the more attractive man one can, which is the no such human interest. References to elite nations. It is story concerned with global powers if I receive more attention than those concerned with less influential nations. Reference to elite persons, which means stories concerned with the rich and powerful, famous and infamous get more coverages. Next is continuity. Is a story which is already in the news gathers a kind of uh, interior. This is partly because of the media organization are already in place to report the story, and partially because of previous reportage may have made the story more accessible to the public, which means making it less ambitious. Next is composition. Story must complete Story must compete with another for space in the media. For insane editors make seek to provide a balance to of different types of coverages, so that it makes it so that if there is an exchange of foreign news, of instance, the last important foreign news story may have to make way for an item concerned with domestic newses. In the way, prominence given to a story depends not only on its own news values but also on those competing stories. News value. What is news value? Next is news value. Determine how much prominence a news story is given by the media outlet. In practice, such decisions are made informally by the editors on the basis of their experience in these institutions or intuitions. And analysis shows that several factors are const, huh, continuing applied across a range of the news organization. Beyond 1994 states that news journalism that has a boldly agreed that set of values often referred to as a newsworthiness, event suitable for news which tend to proximity, relevance, and immediacy and drama. Your lead should be emphasized the most newsworthy information in the story you are trying to tell. But how to do? You figure out what information is most newsworthy. The information you considered most newsworthy depends in the part on your own values, experience and knowledgeable and knowledge. But some general guidelines exist. Below below are the several characteristics that can make information newsworthy. The more of these characterize a piece of information has, the most more newsworthy for the in the information is. Like news types of news. Hard news. This is the how journalist refers to the news of the day. It is chronicle of the current events and incident that is the most common news style on the front page of your typical newspaper. It starts with the summary lead. What happens, where, when, to buy, whom, and why. The journalist five S. I've already mentioned you before in the last video. So let's begin. Hard news stories of the bulk of the news reporting. Hard news consists of the basic facts. It is the news, important public events, international happenings, social conditions, economic and crime, etc. Crime, etc. Soft news is the term for all news that isn't it time sensitive. So soft news includes profiles of people, programs, or organizations. Most of news content is the soft news. Soft news is cleverly written and carefully targeted, can offer an alternative. Soft news can over business or social strains. Typically, social and soft story have a human interest, entertainment focus, or statistical and survey approach. This gives journalists a chance to be creative and have fun with the news. One major advantage is of softer news is that many of the stories have longer shelf life that can be used at any time of particular or reporter deems appropriate. Features. Our news features takes on the step back from the headlines. It explore an issue. News features are the less time sensitive than hard news, but no less newsworthy. But they can be an effective way to write about the complex issue to large for the traces style of hard news. Street skits are the perfect example. This that stories in their individuals' life are full of complexity, full of complexities, and which can be reflected to in a longer pieces. Features are journalism, a shopping center. They are full of interesting people, ideas, color, lights, action, and energy, storytelling at its height. A good feature is about the people in your community and their struggles and defeats. A features takes a certain angle like black youth returning to church and explore it by interviewing the people involved, the drawing conclusions from that information. The writers takes an important issue of the day example to the readers through comments from people involved in the story. While writing a features, remember to balance your story. Present the opinions of the people on both sides of an issue and let the readers make their own decision to whom to believe. No personal opinion are the allowed. The quotes of from the people you interview make up the story. You are the narrator. What is editorial? The editorial is expression and opinions. The editorial page for the newspaper, it lets the story comment on issues in the news. All editorials are the personal, but the topics must still be relevant to the readers. All editorials are the personal, but the topics must still be relevant to the readers. Editorial try to be pursued the readers. Its goal is to move to the readers some specific action, to get them to agree with the writer, to support or denounce a cause, etc. It is considered to be the most difficult writing among all of the newspapers types of writing. Editorials are also important as they interpret the analyzed issue of the readers. Types, which is based on structure. Every news story has the have a focus, which could be a person or an event. The story emerges sharper when the focus is the clear blurred. When the focus is the unclear, the story is built on a central idea, which means we can call them, or we can call theme, and them sometimes on two and three central ideas. So it is called a single element story, or two element story, or three element story, depending on the number of themes it has. Journalists are many different kind of frameworks or for organizing story. Journalists may tell some stories, other story may read like a good suspense novel, that 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 with the relevant of the some dramatic piece of information at the end, which means still other story will start in the present. Then flashbacks to the past fill in the details about the fuller fuller understanding of the story are the good approaches under particular circumstances. So in the next video, so today we have learned what is reporting and what is editorial, and how to rewrite the story, and their objectives. So in the next video we will learn inverted pyramid. We will continue this topic, and uh, inverted pyramid, we will understand what is inverted pyramid. So thank you.